Hello, everybody. Today we are talking about Saturn in Aquarius and the planet. So, today this is part 2 of the Saturn in Aquarius series, and we are going to discuss what impact Saturn has on the planets in Aquarius if you have planets in Aquarius in your chart. Obviously, when Saturn transits over them, he's going to create some pressure on each of the planets. And I'm going to talk about Saturn return, Saturn going over all the Navagrahas. So let us explore. Hello, I'm Komilla Sutton, and we are talking Saturn in Aquarius Part 2, how it impacts the planets. Do remember to subscribe, press the bell notification. So, what about Saturn in Aquarius? And if you have planets in Aquarius, how is it going to impact you? So, the main thing to understand is that Saturn is going to be in Aquarius from 17th of January 2023 to 29th of March 2025. Saturn is not going to impact your planets completely. Saturn will be with planets in Aquarius, but we have to look at the exact day when Saturn goes over the planet. So this is something that you have to do yourself, research yourself, see what degree your planet is, and then whether Saturn is going to move over it. Also, the other thing to watch out for is when Saturn stations on the planet. So there are two retrogrades in 2023 and 2024. Nearer the time, I'll give you the degrees of the retrograde. But that means if you have planets under those degrees, then that would be a more intense experience. Other important thing to remember when you're looking at the planets is what houses they rule. So what houses they rule also makes a difference. So for example, if Saturn is going over your first house ruler, that means it's about yourself. If it is going over your 7th house ruler, it would be about relationships. If it's going over your 10th house ruler, it would be about your career. So what you're thinking about is that as Saturn moves through these planets, you want to see what houses the planets rule. And accordingly, not only that the Saturn is impacting the Karaka of the planet, he's also impacting the house rulership of the planet. Generally, Saturn moving into Aquarius doesn't mean he will automatically impact your planet. Of course, the most important planet we are all looking at is the moon. Moon is the mind. It's your emotions. It's your feel-good factor. And when Saturn transits over your moon, then you're in intense Sade Sati. So this is a challenging transit, and we should not take it lightly. We should plan for it, be restrained, know that, this is not the best time. Right now in California, it's pouring with rain. And so if we go out, we have to take our raincoat. We have to be careful not to drive through puddles and all those things. So similarly in life, when a challenging transit is taking place, then we are protecting ourselves as best as we can. Some of the fallout will be there, but we do need to be conscious. So all of you with Aquarius moon, this is difficult, challenging time for you. So be prepared for it, and also try to simplify your life. Think about how best to handle it. Then Saturn going over your ascendant. So if you are Aquarius ascendants, then Saturn is going to go over your ascendant. What I find with the ascendant is that it can bring some change in your life, because from the ascendant, Saturn is going to aspect your 10th house. And so career change, I have seen almost 95% of the time. People with Aquarius ascendant, so when Saturn goes over the ascendant, change career. Now, you may have already decided to do it earlier because Saturn has already been once in Aquarius and this time is there. Then secondly, it's also pressure on you. You can feel as if you're over pressurized. Again, you do need to know the exact degree of your ascendant. If your ascendant is 0 to 13 degrees Aquarius, it's 2023. Further on, it will be 24 and 25. So, be honoring Saturn, but at the same time, you are getting the Sasha Mahapurusha Yoga as well. So there's pressure as well as opportunity. The Sun, usually Saturn's transit of the Sun gives a identity crisis. Aquarius is also a very Vata sign. That means it can exaggerate worry, it can exaggerate our energy. So we have to be always calming the Vata air element. Air, it can create a lot of turbulence. So watch for that and be cautious, especially also look after your health and generally to take care. Mars is, can be frustrating because Mars wants to take action. And then Saturn comes over Mars and says, sorry, you have to be patient, take your time, be conscious of this period. And, when Saturn is making that exact transit, then we know that we should be cautious rather than, give Mars its head, let him do what he wants to. So that time, don't get irritable or frustrated as a transit goes. Mercury, Saturn going over Mercury can feel dull around that time. So be aware of the transit and, it can change the way you think. You can suddenly feel as if you're not being very inspirational. So to be aware of it, and the inspiration comes out. As soon as Saturn moves away from your Mercury, you'll find all those ideas are there anyway, and all the innovative ideas that Mercury in Aquarius does. Jupiter can bring Saturn's transit over your natal Jupiter can bring some issues regarding children. It can bring some issues with gurus because Jupiter is a Karaka for those. Jupiter is also Karaka for money because he represents the signification of second and 11th house. So therefore that energy also is there when Saturn goes over Jupiter. It's a major transit, but it is also, as I said, that one has to be patient to deal with all those things. Venus being Karaka for marriage and relationships, Saturn's transit over Venus can transform relationships. It can bring some obstacles in relationships. It can delay relationships. And if you are in an existing relationship and you have Venus in Aquarius, then that relationship can go through some turbulence. So the thing to remember is that this transit will pass. And if there are issues coming up, then you have to prioritize and think that what is important that needs to be discussed, needs to be argued, and the frustration that can be there just now regarding your relationships will go away. Saturn is means you are getting a Saturn return. It means you're either 29 or you're 58, 59, or in your late 80s, early 90s. I think 29 multiplied with 3 is 87. So Saturn return, you don't feel anything on the day of Saturn return. It's just a whole cycle is over for you. So when you're in a Saturn return phase, and this is why we see 29, 58, 87, important junction points in your life where, there's growing up, there's change. Usually around 29, we start maturing. We have to take decisions. Around 58, it is more about thinking about retirement, thinking about our health, thinking about what is the next phase of our life. And then 87 again, you have to celebrate, you reach 87 and still planning and still remaining youthful. And you have a strong Saturn anyway. Those of you are getting Saturn return, you have Saturn in Aquarius, own sign. So this is reinforcing the message. Saturn's transit over Rahu and Ketu is more difficult because Rahu Ketu are more volatile energies themselves. Saturn going over Rahu can bring some obstacles, some difficulty, and especially the exact time when Saturn goes over Rahu. It won't be the whole Aquarius transit, and there can be some sudden block, or you can feel double Saturn because Rahu acts like Saturn and Saturn is going over it. You can think of that as a challenge. And Ketu, usually Saturn going over Ketu can be expensive. Some old karmic expense comes to you. Some people come into your life that you have to resolve issues with. So it is really important to be cautious, careful, and, around, it's a 15-20 day transit where Saturn comes near your Ketu and then it moves away. It won't be like the whole transit of Saturn in Aquarius. Now, so do leave me messages below in the comments section, and also let me know any new subjects you want me to talk about. And take care with Saturn in Aquarius. Use its strength and also be prepared for some challenges. All the best. Do remember to subscribe.